Alrighty, ladies and gents, welcome to a play all three. This is in the first round of Group A. Group A, let's see if off the top of my head, we've got JorDan and Classicpro, obviously. But beyond that, you've got Viper, you've got Say My Name, you've got Doubt, and then you've got Miguel. 6 players. There will be 5 rounds. We'll see which players move on past it and which players will drop out into the Gold League for next season. And 5 rounds is not a lot. 15 games to decide on where you're placed. Every game is really important. We've got Classicpro in the yellow, the Ukrainian player, who has really jumped up this year. And he's playing as the Lithuanians. Then we have JorDan over here. And JorDan scouting like a madman early. Holy crap, JorDan, the German, of course, playing as the Byzantines. Cross a map where you have heavy focus on pawns, but the version of cross we use is not quite like Four Lakes. Sometimes you're going to see the players pretty close together. We also don't have quite as much fish in the ponds, though I actually think the ranked version of Four Lakes kind of modeled after that over the past year. I'd have to compare it, but I know like 2 years ago, there was so much more fish in Four Lakes. So anyways, I don't know why I'm comparing it to ranked games, but just pointing out that there's only salmon, only 225 food per fish. Obviously very important, but transitions to land will be important as well. Now, what JorDan's looking to do here is he's looking to deny the dock. He's come over here, and he sees this villager, and Classicpro is going to try and fight this. And Classicpro is probably going to bring the scout back. You can see the movement on the minimap down here. So ultimately, I think this is actually really good from both players. So first off, you have JorDan. He knows what Lithuanians like to do. Lithuanians like to spend, since they have so much food in the bank, they send villagers to wood early, and they go for the early dock. But it's also a good move from Classicpro to take the risk there and actually get a hit, because now he has the stronger scout, and now he can complete his dock. He does have to be careful, of course, on the hill. Okay, now this fight gets a little bit closer. But JorDan started off aggressive there. And, there is a risk in that. Sometimes you don't find your own resources, but JorDan was able to use his sheep, and he actually found the majority of his resources here. But you'll notice, he's not going to dock for a moment or two. And I had said that Lithuanians, I think, are number 1 or 2 on this map. I think Lithuanians and Japanese. And the Civ draft for Classicpro, he actually had both of those civilizations available. So there he is with his first fishing ship. Obviously was a little bit delayed. And we'll see what happens. I mean, both civilizations have nice little trash bonuses. You have faster spearmen, faster skirmishers if you're Lithuanians. Byzantines, all of that is much cheaper. I suppose the speed doesn't matter if you do the classic Byzantine forward. But so far, Classicpro taking the early lead. JorDan, though, has still kept his scout alive. It's on solid HP. And I like the intent there from JorDan. I like how JorDan's opened this up, and he's like, hey, I'm going to show you what I'm made of here. And he clearly knows how strong the Lithuanians can be. Ooh, okay. Just missed this here. It looks like the palisade walls were up for JorDan. And Classicpro now knows that JorDan is somewhere over here. Good stuff. Fabio, this map, so Four Lakes was a map that was modeled after Cross. Cross was a map that existed for years before the definitive editions. The devs decided to name it Four Lakes, I guess, to make it easier for people to understand. I would say that this is Four Lakes, but better, because I feel it's the perfect amount of fish in each pond. It's nothing too crazy. I also believe the gold distribution is much more fair. I'm going to have a map video where you can kind of listen to some of the other details, but that's the gist. There's gold spread out all over the map. Four Lakes, there can sometimes only be 2 or 3 extra golds, and it's always in rather unfair spots. Or not always, but can be at times. So those are the main things. But again, Classicpro's got a nice early lead here. Not only did he start with 150 extra food, but he then gets the dock up a little bit faster. And that's what's so cool about the build order. You use the extra food to help you then get more food with the faster dock and the fishing ships. Classicpro, guys. He's going to be on the way to fuel age here. But JorDan's going to try and squeak by as well. JorDan should be able to do so. And wow, look at these feudal times. Basically the same feudal times for both players. So this is what gets really tricky on this map. So on one hand, you want to have all your wood on fish, right? But on the other hand, you're going to have wood for military. And JorDan's actually going to try a sneak villager here. There's a bunch of different strategies you can do. But I think they're both actually trying the exact same thing. Oh my god, look at the scouts and the villagers on the minimap right now. Look at this. So you have a villager going this way from JorDan. You have a villager going this way, or sorry, this way from Classic Pro and this way from JorDan. Actually, just look at the minimap. Boom, boom. Scout this way, scout this way. They're mirroring each other. Look at this. This is ridiculous. It's so cool. Now, the risky thing here for Classic Pro is that Byzantines get Town Watch for free, and he's also kind of running right past the wood line. So this is not sneaky at all. And over here, you have a villager, and this is amazing. Classic Pro actually making a house, so he can maybe sit over here and just see what he can find. Now, he'll know now that JorDan knows he's here, so this strategy is kind of ruined potentially. And now Classic Pro, you know, he's got to keep an eye on this. Now, sometimes what players will do is they will add a fish, and they will fish over here, like this shore fish, because it'll give you vision. So far, he's not doing that, but JorDan will probably lose this villager. Fuelage is going to come in. We'll see if JorDan can save the vill. He's now brought his scout back. He figures he's going to have a free path. At the end of the day, losing a villager isn't the end of the world for JorDan. The last thing he wants to lose, though, is his scout or this villager. And wow, JorDan's going to make it here. And let's see, will Classic Pro notice this? Okay, the house actually gives him vision. Look, he researched Town Watch. So now Classic Pro knows to make a fire galley. Epic play all around here. But again, that scout's going to be really important to find out what's happening, where it's happening. But both players have kind of set up here. Oh, that's the weak vill. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with attacking there if you're Classic Pro. He doesn't get the kill, and now his scout is dead. And that scout for JorDan is going to be so useful, believe me. I mean, JorDan's going to be able to scout the other pawns. And JorDan is going to be able to confirm a lot of important details in this game. Classic Pro, though, saves his villager. And now he wants to kill the scout, and now JorDan's going to lose his scout. The beautiful quick walling there from Classic Pro. Obviously, a lot of different things going on at the same time here. What JorDan doesn't know, though, and this is not bad for Classic Pro, is that Classic Pro, instead of going for the forward dock, has just decided to go double dock at home. So all of his production is going to be defensive. But a big mistake from Classic Pro, because he was also trying to go scouts and do all these different things, is that villager saved, by the way, he did not go to gold in time. So JorDan, I believe right now, he might be thinking that Classic Pro doesn't know about this, and he's going to show up. Byzantine fires work a little bit faster, by the way. But we'll see what that gold timing, you know, we'll see if that gold timing makes a difference. And we'll see if these scouts for Classic Pro can actually do something, because JorDan's thinking he's going to kill that villager. And now he's going to lose that villager. And also at the same time, you know, JorDan's repairing. It's a really complicated map. I'm sure you guys have picked up on this already. Classic Pro might not be done yet, but I think JorDan realizes the villager's there, and JorDan's going to try and kill it. Super competitive game, guys. This is crazy. I'm loving how competitive it is so far. But, you know, again, you know, for JorDan, he's at least applying pressure to the fish. But then for Classic Pro, he's applying pressure to the land. So I think things to pay attention to here will be the resources floating at around 15, 16 minutes, because the eco layouts are just going to be very different for both players. And JorDan gets a trap in here. He gets a trap, and he's going to kill these scouts. What a great play from JorDan. Sure, he lost the villager, but he kills the scouts, and that's worth it for him. And now JorDan, with the 1 dock versus 2, is killing fishing ships. And this is the last thing Classic Pro would have wanted. If he was losing his fish here, what he would have wanted... Oh, look, hold on one moment. In the north, both players have gone for the dock. Classic Pro is actually going to get his down. Sick play, man. Sick play. But yeah, again, you know, going double dock at home and then losing fishing ships is not what you would want. JorDan can actually add more, and JorDan has done so. Sorry for the dinging. He's at 6. So clutch moves from JorDan, I'd say, because otherwise you've got 3 or 4 scouts running around your base, and it gets annoying. Really like this approach from Byzantines. You have the cheap trash, so you just play defensive, then you have the higher HP docks and the faster working fires, and you fight on water. So the player who got the better of the exchanges is certainly JorDan. And he is going to be, in theory, in the castle age faster here. But we do have some spearmen here from JorDan. JorDan's dock is up, already making the fires. And yeah, I mean, you think about Lithuanians, you think about the faster start, you think about benefiting from all those early bonuses. But at this stage, not really seeing any of those bonuses utilized. And JorDan's had some insane focus over here. Like, watch this. If he can get the repair in time and pop out with a demo, there could be some really big problems. But he actually forgets about it. And who can blame him? You know, a lot of different things happening. Demo's going to pop out. He's got 2 demos in queue now. And actually, okay, there you go. Classic Pro in a position to kill this villager for JorDan and maybe put an end to this finally. JorDan, this would be a great time to pop out with his demo, but it hasn't done so for some reason. Feels like before these things get repaired up would be the time, right? If he notices that he would get 2 kills. Classic Pro has rebounded a little bit. Unfortunately for him, JorDan is walled, though. JorDan's done a great job taking all the berries. He's put a lot more on the berries, you'll notice. And, of course, we missed the demo. The demo actually killed a scout as well. I think it might have been 2 demos because JorDan had 2 in queue there. But, I mean, in the end, with JorDan fully saturating the berries, having a couple farms. I guess there's a lot of farms for Classic Pro as well. But just having added all these fishing ships, he has cleared out a lot more fish in his pond. And you could also argue he spent a lot less as well, right? Because he didn't make scouts, and his spearmen are also cheaper. See what JorDan can do in the next stage. Obviously, he still has the docks up, so he can continue to focus on water. Here he uses the spearmen. And, man, this is a great spot for JorDan. Because he can essentially, as long as he spreads his ships out here, he has won the north. There's no way for this dock to get repaired. It's just the small thing here for JorDan is simply to just... Oh. Okay, see, I mean, it feels like it might have been manageable for Classic Pro, but still, the demo ends up weakening ships that now are uncontested. Now, down here, we have JorDan. Again, another attempt to get a dock up. And, oh my god, dude. The quick walls have been insane in this series. We've had, like, 5 clutch quick walls on both sides. But if you're Classic Pro now, and JorDan's going to get that palisade down, and just add a fire galley first, just in case... if you're Classic Pro now, you must recognize, as the archer runs right into the TC, that you've got to go somewhat all in here. Yeah, you've got this pond, and you might even, secure it to add more fish. But JorDan's got the north, and then JorDan has some control over the south. Now, we'll see if he has full control. He's coming in with the spearman to kill the scout. Won't get it. Probably needs to flee, because there's an archer. But yeah, this is a crazy game. Now, what I would love for JorDan is to see a stable here. He's actually going to go double stable. Wow. And I like to start to see players, and this is a preference thing for me. It might not be something that is really corrected this time. But certainly Classic Pro, if you're going to be seeding this many farms, I think getting horse collar is a fantastic move so the food lasts a long time. JorDan is going to try and deny this dock, and he actually has another fire galley on the way. And the other thing JorDan has to decide on is if he's going to prioritize getting the war galley upgrade, which I think is worth it here in one of his docks. Normally what you'll see is that research in the home dock because you don't need production from this. Second town center for JorDan. And he has the lead already. He opens with camels, actually. Interesting decision to open with camels. Normally it's open with knights and follow up with camels if the opponent's making knights. It's been a close game, but definitely a game that JorDan has the lead in right now. And with that faster castle age time, again, if there were knights here, this would be a big problem for Classic Pro. Yeah, with that faster castle age time, JorDan's going to be able to do a lot to extend his lead. And Skirmisher is pretty ineffective. You could argue maybe Fletching was a little useless as well. Just can't help but feel like, when you have 2 players doing the exact same thing, and JorDan is able to get such benefit there. He killed the scouts, and then he also is killing fish. It's a double whammy there. Normally, it's a mix of results, right? Normally, there's a trade-off on either side. One player wins water, other person kills a bunch of villagers with the scouts. Didn't happen here. And so I was thinking this is going to be all JorDan, but we'll see. We do have War Galley on the way right now for Classic Pro. And again, if JorDan would have added knights, JorDan would have killed so many villagers here. But now he's got the knights. The order of events was a little off. But Classic Pro is falling apart. I mean, the monastery would need to come out really soon so we can get conversions. And then, of course, maybe relics. But JorDan, he snowballed those small little leads into amazing control right now. And the worker efficiency, I'm sure it's really bad right now for Classic Pro. Yeah, worker efficiency last minute's at 52%. And, to make matters worse, he actually can't even benefit from getting War Galley now. Because he will still lose this fight. And that's not a cheap upgrade. So, yeah, this is falling apart for Classic Pro. Meanwhile, JorDan, he had researched horsepower, like I said, and he's starting to mix in farms. He's got 3 TCs producing villagers. Not perfect, but he's got to get his food count up. He's certainly done it in the north. He's even adding another dock there. And yeah, I'd be shocked if JorDan loses this game now. He took a 5 population lead all the way to a 30 population lead. And he can just relax. Boom it up a little bit. Classicpro under a lot of pressure. And it's a shame because Classicpro had some really good moments, but the most important moments were, I think, early feudal. I think it's a very different game if he has those scouts out, guys. If he has those scouts out, he can deny JorDan running to the north, or at least they'll make it more difficult for JorDan, because then JorDan would have to bring Spearman with the villager. But it was that one play, the quick wall from JorDan to kill the scouts, as well as getting damage in here, and then what they were able to do from those positions is what made the big difference. And for Classicpro, it was a good first game, but wasn't good enough. He loses with Lithuanians, and well played JorDan with the Byzantines. Yeah, very clean execution from JorDan, right? Very clean. He was going to have way more resources than this. Like, it feels like 1,300 more resources is a lot, but believe me, it would continue to climb with his economy. He was very concise with how much military he needed to make. He didn't over or under produce military. He also didn't over or under invest into upgrades. He knew he didn't really need many upgrades here, and that he could save the upgrades till later. Already had monks coming out to gather the relics. I mean, his TCs were in perfect positions on wood lines near stones and golds. It's a clean game from JorDan, and we'll move on to game number 2. Okay, so game number 2. I thought it was a good first game. Sorry, JorDan, your name is just... AoE, man, is just ruining things for me. There we go. It was a good first game. I think it was one of those games where players did the exact same thing, and one player got benefit, and it's tough in those situations because you guys have probably seen it. Sometimes you just don't have a win condition if you're going for the same strategy and one person gets the better than the other, you know? But here it's going to be a very different game. We've got Arabia, no water on this map, and we have 2 very different civilizations, 2 very strong civilizations. JorDan in the blue playing Burgundians. And fairly open map, I'd say, which is a map he wouldn't want with Burgundians. And then we have Classicpro. And I don't know, like, I would say Classicpro's map is a little better, but the theme here I'm noticing is that the woodlines all seem to be towards the middle. So if you wanted to wall up with JorDan's map, you could. You could wall towards the cliff. It's nice to have cliffs back. Let's go. You could wall here, and then you could wall here. But that's a lot of walling, which is the first thing. And then the second thing I'd say is that your woodlines can be ranged. So I don't know. By the way, really like what JorDan's doing here. He actually is putting more villagers on food at the start. I do this with Burgundians as well, so happy to see it. He knows that he's going to need to research that wood upgrade here in Dark Age. So instead of doing 6 on food, he goes 7 on food, and then goes to wood a little bit later. I find that things tend to even out too, because sure, you're on wood later, but then you research the wood upgrade in Dark Age, and so you tend to catch up there. So that's just kind of my feel on it. I don't know. I personally prefer the Hindustanis here. I think the Hindustanis are more flexible. I have seen JorDan play Burgundians on Arabia before, and it just didn't look good because he tried to wall too much and play too defensive. If I had to guess, with JorDan's style, I think he's just going to play into like 20 pop archer range or something. A lot of players are doing that these days. I think he's going to try and just defend from any type of like man-at-arm or scout play. If his opponent goes for a scout rush, which Hindustanis can do really well, maybe he goes spearman archer to open. And then if his opponent goes for man-at-arm archer, he'll just open up with archer and skirmisher. That's just my guess. But yeah, I mean, there's trade-offs with the map, right? Like, some people are saying JorDan's golds are much better. Yeah, exactly. Like, his stone's also really good. I guess this stone could be considered good as well. But I'm really happy with the Arabia version we chose here. It's like, the other thing that we brought back to this Arabia is we have larger hills in neutral areas, which I always think is really nice. Like, I watched some old games, some old casts and whatnot, and I'm like, man, where did the hills go? And I'm not talking tiny little King of the Desert hills everywhere. Like, you know, some of these smaller hills is more of like a New Age Arabia thing. But, you know, like a hill that you have to control that ends up being really important for the game. And sometimes those are going to end up in the middle of the map. But like usually it's going to be near the neutral resources on the sides. I don't know. It probably won't even add that much. But like this massive hill, this is rare for us these days on Arabia. That was one of the main things I wanted to do. So I really like how we did that. We also brought back some cliffs. There's a cliff here which could benefit JorDan or make things horribly inconvenient for him. Oh, wow, man. I mean, JorDan staying at home, still pushing in his deer, and then Classicpro pretty much the same. So it's interesting because if you look to a recent Arabia tournament, King of the Desert, there were tinier woodlines, there were tiny hills everywhere. It was super open, and it was harder to close off your base. And I don't know if it was a meta thing or a map thing. I think it was a combination of both. But people were going to Militia Drush, and like you had to scout super early. These two players, they either have a similar play style. I know they played each other on ranked a lot. Or they've just determined that, well, you know what? We don't need to be quite as aggressive with that strategy, or they're not expecting that strategy from the opposition. So yeah, again, the weakness of Burgundians, which is why picking it on this map is really interesting, is that they have to play defensive to be able to take advantage of researching their eco upgrades. This wall should just never go up, I think. This is going to be a scout build from Classicpro. I like how he's done it. A few walls, but nothing crazy. If I'm Classicpro and I see this villager walling, I just run over here and I wait and I dive back in right when I hit feudal age. And something to remember here in these play all threes is that there's only 15 games throughout the whole group to determine if you're relegated, if you stay alive and are in platinum next season, or if you go into the playoffs. So, I mean, this is a really big deal. If you have 1 or 2 games out of those 15 where you're not on point, even if you quote unquote win the series, you might regret that. Jeez, dude, this is very reminiscent of the last time I saw JorDan play Burgundians. He tries to wall too much and then he got punished in that game. But let's see if I'm right on that. Obviously, he already has the feudal age wood upgrade, which Classicpro just got, and then he's going to probably go for the castle age wood upgrade here too. I don't know why Classicpro... Is he, like, waiting for another scout? Okay, maybe he just didn't see it. But now he attacks, and the timing on this is going to confuse JorDan. Let's see if JorDan can get the quick walls down. This is this villager... What?! It's disgusting. Like, these walls are so freakishly ridiculous and bold and just shouldn't be a thing. But I guess you can do that when you can quick wall like that. For me, I would never even consider this strategy because I can't rely on myself to get the quick wall there. That was sick from JorDan. Now, his villager could still die, but he does have spearmen coming over. There will be more scouts out. And it's very important for Classicpro not to take hits. Because now, you know, you don't even need to really worry about that scout. Oh my god, there's a hole here for JorDan. Oh my god, there's a hole. Okay, so 2 scouts come in on this side now. And let's see what Classicpro's micro looks like. Remember in the previous game, JorDan neutralized the scout rush pretty easily. And yeah, Classicpro looking for openings right now and trying to keep his scouts together. I guess he's looping over here now. And he's trying his absolute best to kill this spearman. I wonder if it's worth it to boink it with your scout here if you're Classicpro. How much damage do you do there? It's 4 HP. I think you boink it. Because you don't want him to have 3 spearmen. He could technically heal that. I don't know. That's a caster thing to say, right? Obviously, he's got to do a million other things at home. Like, boink it. Okay, now you boink it. Okay, he's not going to boink it. Huh. He wants through, though. Oh, he's going to get through anyways. Okay, so a little bit of finagling here from Classicpro. Well played. And then he goes in after JorDan's scout, and JorDan boinks the weak scout. Heavy, heavy, heavy spearman for JorDan. What Classicpro will see here, though... Man, it looks like the pathing got even worse on this patch. Or maybe Classicpro just having a grouping issue. But the nice thing from Classicpro is that he sees JorDan's making a staple, so he knows to be a little cautious about that. And, ooh, can he get through? He uses this scout to attack the Vil. Oh, great work from Classicpro. Actually, is that good work? Oh, God. Now you've played yourself. Oh, God. And JorDan, Mass Spearman so far working so good. He doesn't have Castle Age Eco upgrades. So their ecos are actually similar, but the Hindustani villagers are cheaper. Another thing that you have to consider here is that if Classic Pro were to just go up to Castle Age and work his way towards camels, or maybe even Cav Archers, which you see a lot, I still don't think Burgundians can really take the edge, right? Obviously, having Spearmen against camels can be helpful. But if you go Camel and a couple Cav Archers or Camel and a couple Crossbows, JorDan's still playing from behind. But, you know, he's going to eventually get scouts out, you think. I think JorDan's about to move out. We might see a little wall delete on the side as he sends his scouts out for freedom. Yep, here we go. He's going to have his 3 scouts. And yeah, I guess now if you're Classic Pro, you just wall up as well. And you have to track those scouts. I think that's the most important thing. Letting JorDan get damage in, you know he has a stable, would be a mistake. And so if I were in his position, I would just bring my scouts here. I would stop trying to do damage, and I would just play safe. He's walling a lot, though. He's really hoping he can get these walls down in time. I don't know. I feel like this is a mistake. I mean, this is something that is so basic, right? If you allow JorDan to get damage in, and it feels like with scouts he should be able to, when you've done no damage, you're going to be regretting it. And now Classic Pro walling, and again, this to me is super avoidable for him. His scouts, I understand it. He wants to do damage, but they're just going to be walled out. And now he's getting hit with this villager, who he can't save, and now it's awkward. And yeah, I guess he's going to lose 1 vill in the end. Oh! He's trying to get the palisade wall down, but no. I don't know. That's a frustrating loss right there. But if you do think about the cost of villagers for Hindustani, still Classic Pro will be up to the next stage faster. And it's not going to get worse for him. Did have to pull off the gold there, which is frustrating because, you know, then he actually is missing the gold to click up here, which is kind of wasting some time for him. I think if he keeps these scouts alive, though, to scout for other resources and relics, and he clicks up, he should be good. But good work from JorDan there. That's the first villager kill of the game. Again, sometimes that can be the difference. JorDan's walls looked ridiculous, but he actually was able to get them up. And now he's starting to mix in archers, too. So this is crucial because this is hidden from Classic Pro. But also the timing on this is going to be important because what you don't want is to have like 6 to 8 crossbows when you're in Castle Age. You want to have probably 12 plus. And we are going to see Classic Pro go for Cav Archers here, guys. I called that. I'm interested to see as Classic Pro micros down the scout there. Still super close. It feels like a fight that Classic Pro might lose if he doesn't realize the Spearman's there. Oh my god. Okay, so they both lose 2 scouts. There's been a lot of instances in this game where it's just ended up looking very even. But there's still a scout out there for Classic Pro, so I think he'll prefer this. So, if you listen to my casts, I say that going Cav Archers makes sense in situations where you are faster to the Castle Age. And the reason for that is the crossbow timing can be really strong against you otherwise. This is a crazy uptime. 20-minute uptime. Impressive. And Classic Pro is going to go for 3 ranges. Remember, the weakness for JorDan's base is that his woodlines can all be ranged. He's walled up, but his woodlines can be hit by ranged units. And we will have the ranged units. The mobile ranged units of the Cav Archers doing their thing. Also, I think that was the weak Spearman from earlier, and I think Classic Pro just boinked it, like I was saying. Classic Pro's looking, but he can't see this. The positioning of the range is really wise from JorDan. I think either way, though, Classic Pro will be okay with this. But I think it's important that he tracks the army, because the army could maybe sneak. And look at JorDan. JorDan's now scouting as well. We'll see if he spots the Cav Archers. And the greater question is, what does he do if he sees Cav Archers? Because he's going to have to use his crossbows defensively here, I think. Look at this. Even getting, or debating getting the gold mining upgrade. Okay, there's a scout for JorDan. Probably not really paying attention to it. Spearman doesn't see anything. Little fight here. Classic Pro will win. JorDan's got a decent mass. He's got about 12 crossbows. He's also adding a town center here. And it's only 2 Cav Archers here for Classic Pro. And he's definitely gone for the more pressure-heavy approach. Some players would go for two archer ranges. But he ends up going for 3 archer ranges. Every time I check, he's not really producing out of all of them, though. But I probably just caught him at an off time. Did research bloodlines from his stable that he went scouts in. And yeah, JorDan realized that this was going to be an issue. But I think he can complete this. It's at 80%. JorDan's good enough where he can just pull back the weak villagers, move them to the side. Worst case, send some of these villagers back and then bring gold villagers over to finish it. But okay, villager killed. 1-to-1 with the Eco KD. And there's now the second town center for Classicpro. Look at how much food Classicpro has in the bank right now. He's also over here with Cav Archers. But does Classicpro know about this? 1 down. 2 down. This is the first time that Classicpro sees this. Sneaky plays from JorDan. And we have Cav Archer groups on both sides. So what I'm noticing, guys, is that Classicpro is really good at mixing in a lot of small things. But JorDan simplifies his game plan. In the first game, it was the same thing. Classicpro trying to do a lot. And he certainly seems to have the APM for it. I'll be curious to see what the APM looks like when we maybe look at it later. But sometimes when you're trying to do too much, you can make some mistakes. And JorDan's job seems a little easier right now. And this crossbow mass will need to be dealt with. We'll see if JorDan reacts to this, though, because I don't think he did. It's like he was actually being attacked in so many spots. He doesn't react. And this could actually lead to another situation where JorDan doesn't react. Now, Classicpro's getting hit. He is to move, but Classicpro's in. Again, I don't know if JorDan noticed that yet. So here, Classicpro losing some Cav Archers here. He's pressuring, trying to break through. Now the Cav Archers are here from Classicpro. Jeez, this is insane action. JorDan now notices this. Again, I don't think he actually knew this was an issue until now. And in the meantime, he actually made some mistakes over here. So, crazy game. JorDan, though, is still killing villagers. Like, he's killed a lot of villagers. It's 6-2 Eco KD for him. But he's obviously under a lot of pressure. He's going to need army here. The Cav Archers are in over here. And these Cav Archers may follow JorDan. He'll lose just as many villagers as he was able to kill at Classicpro's base. So again, you know, the question about Burgundians is, can you just sit back the whole time on a map like Arabia? And Hindustanis, I mean, I didn't even talk in depth about how good they are right now in Arabia, but you know, I overall, after all these exchanges, it's an even game. I do like the flow of the game a bit better for the Hindustanis and for Classicpro. JorDan losing that monk there. And JorDan now has elite skirms, so that is a positive. So he does have a big ball of elite skirms and crossbows. And now that elite skirmishers in, you'd think that these Cav Archers are going to eventually go down. Continues to dodge these shots as well, which is funny. But Classicpro realizes the right play. He says, all right, well, he's gone elite skirm. And I'm kind of trapped in here. So he's going to have a big ranged army because I'm going to lose mine. So he goes Siege Workshop. That's awesome. Classicpro plays like Viper, 7 sides at once. Yeah, kind of. I would agree. I mean, the guy has really upped his gameplay. And, you know, some people might feel like the Viper comparisons might be a bit too much. But he's hit 2K5 quite a few times this year on the ladder. And he definitely seems to be the faster player than JorDan. I mean, that's just the vibe I'm getting. JorDan may disagree with that. And obviously, it's hard to really notice speed. But again, the problem is when you're trying to do all these things, is if it doesn't work out, sometimes it just ends up looking bad. And we have seen some instances, not there, but a few instances here or there where he loses some army maybe, where he shouldn't. Like right here. Like this is just a backup, wait for your siege type of situation. A great gameplay. It's really hard to go 3 ranges, all these TCs, and get ballistics, Shelobs. So Classicpro has it now. I think it was the correct play to go for the town centers before ballistics, though. Against a player like JorDan and Burgundians as well, the eco is just going to be too good. You don't want to fall off there. Here, Classicpro trying to be fancy again and just splitting up a few Cav Archers to hit this wood line. And JorDan hits him there. And I'll be excited to see what JorDan does in this situation, because now JorDan sees siege. And JorDan clearly wants to counterattack. But now his army's kind of out of position. Like, if Classicpro were to just take out a palisade wall, JorDan has to run this way to deal with it. And there's siege here for Classicpro. And he should see this. Now, I don't know if he should run in now. This is a tricky decision. I don't know if he should run in. I actually think it would have been wiser to run back. And, okay, well, now he runs back. See, that's the thing. Like, if he would have run back initially, it could have been good. What if he ends up losing all of his siege and he ends up losing his Cav Archers? He kind of needed both together here. Jordan's got a lot of crossbowmen, a lot of skirms, and he's got the skill to micro this. The villagers come in for repairs, but Jordan says not today. He splits against 2 mangonels so far. Still, though, Classicpro has the hill. There's more siege, and it's a lot of control for him, and what a game. 98 population for both players when I last checked. Now 99 population for both players. Classicpro, though, saving so much food because the Hindustani villagers are cheap. But remember, we talked about those golds, guys. Does he know about this gold? He does. I think that gold's going to be a big deal because this gold sucks, and this gold's not so good with how this game is flowing either. We actually have all that food disappear here for Classicpro as he sinks it into husbandry, scale barding armor, and handcart. This tells me we might actually see some more stables from him to go for light cav. Look at that light cav upgrade. And he's still interested in pressuring Jordan. Jordan's still interested in getting a counterattack in. And sorry, I can't switch point of view. But yeah, it looks like Jordan will kill a few villagers here. And that's just a really tough ball to deal with right now. We saw how good Jordan's micro was. And even here, you know, the defensive play from Jordan's looking strong. In the end, though, Classicpro is going to back off. And we'll see if light cav actually ends up working because he's not producing any right now. That's the thing. And when you're trying to defend yourself against raids like this, you're going to make mistakes on the front. These villagers have to pull back. Okay, do we actually have light cav being made right now? Not really. We've got one out there. It seems like he's struggling to get the wood. He's going over to this gold. He's torn right now, and I feel like he really needs to make a decision because Jordan's just full booming, and he's going to boom up towards Imp, I think. What a close game. This is an amazing game, guys. This is truly an incredible Arabia game. You would need to probably have about 5 light cav here. Maybe a bit less, actually, because Jordan only has 5 crossbows. He's producing. Oh, here are the stables, excuse me. Okay, so he is producing from those stables. Here are the skirms. Jordan's probably like, why is Classicpro taking this fight? We have the siege coming in. Meanwhile, Jordan's dropped a castle. Remember, his gold positions are very secure. They're all along the back of his base. It's the wood that's the problem. He'll drop another castle. But now Jordan could lose all of his army because the siege is here, the light cav is here, and this army hears about it, and they're like, nope, I'm out of here. But at the same time, as all the light cav are pouring out, and it's looking kind of rough for Jordan on the military front, Jordan does have good defensive castles. And I feel like this castle was crucial. This is a very important castle for him to get up. This town center, oh, so important. You know what I mean? Like, I think if Classicpro would just be able to realize that he needs to shift into slightly more defensive positions at times, he would be Viper. No offense to Viper. But like this, for example, right? I feel like Viper would not run forward here. We'd use the Viper example, so I'll stick with it. But I don't know. I mean, it's tricky because now Jordan has to defend, and what the crap do I know, man? And the Cav Archers get some decent kills. Jordan now also on the way to the Imperial Age. But again, this force here, this is one that Jordan is going to want to keep alive for now, so he can kill a couple Cav Archers. And I'm just not sure that's going to happen. He gets rocked in the face twice. The light cav here have solid enough upgrades. And I think even this here will just get traded against by the Cav Archers. What a game. Why is Jordan going for Sanctity? Well, he's getting relics. And if you heard him cast with me, I talked about how Sanctity is cheap and people should be getting it more. So he probably took my advice on that. Not even kidding. We had like a 5-minute conversation on Sanctity, so... Man, Jordan's going to make himself so hard to kill, though. Ooh, wait a second. Okay, Jordan needs to try and, like, wall the other side so the Cav Archers can't leave. It feels like this is going to go up. Oh, wow, wait a second. Look at how many villagers are going down here for Jordan. It's at 90%. Again, I think the castle goes up, so I think you leave if you're Classicpro. He's a maniac! 99%. Now you leave. He's crazy, man. He's crazy. He lost so much army for that. But, I mean, I guess you could consider it worth it. Holy crap. I would have bailed hard. I would have left. I think I would have ran in, saw the castle going up, killed 2 villagers and left. Not Classicpro. 36 villagers killed in this game. Jordan another castle, though. Jordan also another relic. That'll be relic number 3. And JorDan making a different unit type now. There's also a hole here that Classicpro notices. But these units could still get through. Yeah, I think they're still going to get back there, which will lead to some camels having to come in. JorDan could kill so many villagers with these units here. Heavy camel now on the way for Classicpro, so he knows that it's going to be, at least for now, some of the Coustier or Coustilier. Heavy camel should be the proper option for that. And JorDan really wants a castle over here on this gold. And both players kind of have a neutral gold towards the corner. This is a gold that Classicpro is now camping. It almost looks like JorDan saw that army there. Classicpro with some good quick walls. We'll see a house here. There's a villager there. It's unfortunate he didn't see that. Otherwise, he would have trapped it. But I'm just wondering, are we going to see the revolution in this game? Yeah, JorDan knows something's up over here, so he sent his unit. Our camels raiding JorDan. Remember, JorDan lost a lot of villagers compared to Classicpro. That hurts. He has to replenish those. And he didn't react here at all, I think because he was looking over here. Which is kind of awkward, because technically, if Classicpro focuses down this unit here, Classicpro could deny it with a camel. But in the end, I think JorDan will probably finish that. And more camels diving, as we have Imperial Camel on the way for Classicpro. And JorDan doesn't really have an answer to camel right now. JorDan's doing a lot of surviving, but not a lot of thriving, and here he even got hit. And now the population is 160 for Classicpro. It's 114 for JorDan. And when I talked about the group, this Group A, man, you know, I expect the gamer legions to stay up. You have Tato, you have Viper, you have JorDan. And then it's just a matter of, like, which two are going to go down and which one's going to stay up. Because you've got Say My Name, Miguel, and Classicpro. And in my mind, even though Say My Name's playing incredible, and I think he could surprise people, I think on paper, that fight between who's, you know, also stays up for the next season is between Classicpro and Miguel. And, I mean, that might be underselling some of these players. Because I think, you know, all of Gamer Legion might not actually survive. But I think Classicpro's showing how good he is here, man. I mean, obviously got outplayed a little bit in that one instance in the previous game, but look at him now. Just constant pressure on JorDan. JorDan with some great quick walls here, but we do have a Treb now for Classicpro. And this needs to be dealt with, right? You need to hit that siege. Because if you lose this side of your base, you could be screwed. Who cares if you have the gold on the other side? I just don't know what JorDan makes. That's the thing. What army does he make? Because the Hindustanis can counter pretty much everything. We have Halbs on the way, and already Classicpro is making hand cannons. And looks to me like this is going to be split 1-1. And before we go into the third game, in this play all three first round T90 Titans League, Classicpro's everywhere. He's everywhere. This is crazy, man. And of course, he has the economy for it as well. Amazing scouting from him. I love the play. And he knows that if he just continues to focus in this area, he can win the game. A lot of people think about the revolution in this situation, but I don't think JorDan has the resources for it. And even still, I don't think the revolution can bring you back from the dead necessarily. Not at this elo. 140 pop. Well, it will look better, actually, if Classicpro doesn't run back here. It's like he can't see the Halbs. Or maybe he realized... I don't know why. They're beating Halbs. Okay, never mind. He's like, I don't need to pull back because I'm probably making a lot of hand cannons. Honestly, not a great fight. I think he should have just waited for his hand cannons. He's going to bring them forward now. Yeah, I've seen this matchup before, guys, and it always looks so good for the Hindustanis. JorDan's even going to get this relic here, but I don't know, man. Small little counterattack for JorDan. If Classicpro never notices this, that could do something. But JorDan could lose another castle here. The Hindustanis have a counter for everything except for Gurjaras. I believe that the Gurjaras are in need of a nerf, as well as the Hindustanis. But Gurjaras, in particular, seem freaking strong right now. I did play some 1v1s last night in that Civ matchup twice. And my feeling is the only way that Gurjaras lose that is if they get outplayed. I think this particular game here, You've got Hindustanis with that slight edge, and you definitely, but the Hindustanis have, I think, more potential to outplay would maybe be the way to say it. He doesn't have 9 range. The 9 range isn't needed. Who cares about range when you're up against Halbs, right? And the GG's called. Well played, Classicpro. What a sick game. Man, let's look at the APM. I'm very curious. Okay, I mean, this is where APM can be deceiving, right? It does say his military stats are higher, or not his stats, but like, you know, his APM was higher. But my goodness, was he everywhere. That was incredible. Also, floating a lot of extra resources on top of collecting all this because your villagers are cheap. Also, the unique tech, which he may or may not have researched. I missed it, which brings more gold income, which is maybe why he has 14K. Holy crap. More wood, more food, more gold collected there. Classicpro gets an important win. Also, something I should mention. So, obviously, you've got, like, the whole promotion relegation thing. You've got the prestige of it all, the competition. Those things are all good for players. And then you have the placement prize pools, which happen if you make it, you know, a certain distance into the event. Well, actually, everyone gets a placement prize pool, but right, obviously it gets higher the further you go. But guess what? You also get $40 a victory. So, you know, there's lots of reasons why I wanted to host this, but a lot of reasons is to make sure the players can make more prize in the game. And so $40 per player so far, on top of, you know, being able to play all these upcoming games, and then also having the placement prizes isn't too shabby. I think it's $17,500 goes specifically towards plat. And then we have about $5,000 that's in gold. And then, you know, if we expand this thing over the long term, we can hopefully do more in everything. But, yeah, Classicpro ties it up. Score 1-1. Well, let's move on to game number 3. Wow, we've got Desert Arabia. I'm going to be honest. I looked at a bunch of different generations. Didn't know that this was a possibility. And I said Arabia, didn't I? I meant to say Arena. Welcome to game number 3. JorDan Classicpro. First round. And there's definitely going to be sets throughout the league where we're going to look back and we're going to say, wow, remember that set. Now, it's typical caster to say that this could be it. But, you know, for JorDan, many people would predict that he's going to stay alive in the group. What if at the tail end of like week 4 or week 5, we're looking back and saying, oh, man, but Classicpro beat him there? Classicpro kind of destined JorDan to be relegated. So just lots of competition in this group. And all the groups, and that's kind of the exciting part of this, right? It definitely shakes things up and requires players to prove themselves. And Classicpro has proven that he deserves to be here. The score is 1-1 right now. And we have Arena, which is JorDan's home map. And on Arena, he's gone for the Sicilians. But I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure if I love Sicilians here. I would have preferred to see Burgundians, which he used on Arabia. And then he lost, which looks especially bad right now. It is not to say Sicilians are necessarily bad, but I just haven't seen them be as proven as Burgundians. And I have seen the Cumans do some crazy things with their 2TC boom. So I'm excited. Couple things here for players who might love Arena. I know you guys might not like your 900 HP Stonewalls. Well, guess what? TTL Arena, 1800 HP Stonewalls, so we will not see tower rushing. It's going to be standard Arena plays. Obviously, could still have some aggression and clownery, but I heard your cries, Arena fans. I heard your cries, Arena players. There are some Arena players in... Do we have any? I guess we have Madri. Madri is somewhat... Wait, I think... No, Madri's not in Platinum. Madri's in Gold. Anyways, we've got a couple of those Arena guys out there. And I felt that was important because we do have some other closed maps. Arena is the closed map. And there's just a certain type of play that we want here. Map-wise, things seem pretty even. I mean, I don't normally compare this too much because we don't see the maps matter all that much either. But I will mention that I think the TC spots could be glorious for Classicpro. I would love to see his TC here, actually. Actually, no, I take that back. If he scouted this gold, he should TC over here. Because in the event JorDan would go for a siege push, you don't want your TC to be accessible. So I was just thinking woodline and a gold, and he's got that on the back. Somebody asked, who is Classicpro? Is he a new player? Haven't seen this guy around before, and good question. So he's not new. There's no one in Platinum or Gold who's really new. Now, I don't mean to discourage anyone out there, but you kind of have to play this game for a very, very long time to get to a very high level and compete. And for Classicpro, I've known him for 5+ years. Obviously, though, he has upped his level. So I think another thing you guys may have seen with Classic Pro was he was, I think, 1 win off of beating Velez in, was it Hidden Cup 3 qualifiers or was it a Red Bull qualifier? It might have been both, actually. But unfortunately for Classic Pro, he was just like 1 win in maybe multiple sets from making the top 16 in an event. And so I guess this is why I'm so passionate about this league, because if that happens to you or happened to you in the past as a player, you might have to wait a year, 18 months, 2 years. You might have to wait a long time before another qualifier comes up or before that event happens again. And then, like, you know, every event's got its own different ways of seeding things, ranking things, whatever. But there's just no consistency for the players. It's like, well, I hope this happens again, right? And so the idea of the league is, you know, someone like this, let's say Classic Pro does get relegated. He's like, okay, well, 6 months, I earn my way back, right? That's kind of how I want things to look for the scene. And but yeah, Classic Pro has really improved over the last year or two. It was Hidden Cup 4 qualifier, apparently, where he was 1 win off from actually making it. No. I think it was a best of 5. So I think it was, it would have been 1 round off as well. I think he would have had to get another result. But point is, he's a good player. And actually, he really upped over the last 6 to 8 months as well, at least if you go off his ladder rankings, beating some big players, reaching 2K5. So, yeah, I'm happy for him. JorDan over here is going to go Fast Castle, by the way. If anyone else has questions about the league. Okay, so he is going for the TC I mentioned. Still feel like maybe this is the safer option. But I guess this is closer to your wood line, so you don't have to walk far. It should be fine. Classic Pro is going to have a guaranteed economy lead. There's no disputing that. There's no way to stop it either, to be honest. I love Arena, but clowns think there are only 2 types of maps, closed and open, and it should be 50-50 in the map pool. Terra's words. They call every non-closed map a variation of Arabia. Listen. When you listen to that man speak, you'd be a fool to take it serious, all right? It's either sarcasm half the time or absolute arena nonsense half the time, all right? Just let it go in one ear and out the other with that player, all right? He's a good guy, but some of the things he says, man, I would just let it pass through your mind. All right, so Fast Feudal, a 23 eco. There's 25. And we have a barracks here for JorDan. So one of the things you can do in Arena, one of the common strategies is to fight for the relic control. There's actually not a very large distance between the players. I feel like on this gen, you could see siege pushes work, right? Because the further apart you are, the less likely we're going to see any type of forward. But there's a world where JorDan actually goes aggressive here, guys. Like, if he goes stable blacksmith and goes with Fast Castle, maybe he does make scouts to compete for relics, but maybe he considers going into the middle. Because you should know that the Kuman player is stuck in Feudal Age, booming up. Also, Classic Pro forgot this goat, which is kind of funny. And we have a very important scout fight here that JorDan's winning. This is a big mistake from Classic Pro to lose this scout. This should never happen. Maybe just didn't check the HP there. JorDan will be happy about that now. Yeah, it's not the biggest deal because he's got farming eco right now, but he forgot the goat, man. He forgot the goat. Maybe because it blends in with the terrain or something. But now, when JorDan adds a relic, or adds a monk, sorry, to get relics, he can actually just heal. And this will be a full HP scout. And then he'll have more scouts. Not bad. Can you explain how much of an impact the 1800 HP walls are? Basically, the only impact it has on arena play is the fact that you can't go Feudal Age pressure. Because villagers have a little bonus against stone walls. And the way stone walls typically work nowadays is a stone wall in Feudal has 900 HP. And a stone wall in Castle goes to 1800. And so what was happening was players would develop these build orders to fight the walls with villagers and tower rush and whatnot, which I actually don't mind. I don't think that's bad. But that's just not something that pure arena has these days. People always customize it to 1800 to kind of avoid that. Okay. So we are going to see a forward from JorDan. And again, I think that this makes sense for two reasons. First off, Classic Pro has an eco lead. He's going to be stuck in feudal, but also I think because of the distance. There's a lot more to gain from this. And now Classic Pro doesn't even have a scout, so he can't even scout what's happening. This is an important game, man. This is a really important game. Because the competition is not going to get easier for either player, right? Double Siege Workshop? What? Double Siege Workshop? Can he afford... If this was low elo Legends, I'd be like, listen, guys. The thing about Double Siege... It's not that I'm not a fan of aggression. It's more so the fact that I don't think he can produce out of both of these. He goes Ram Scorpion. Ram Scorpion? JorDan, you're confusing me, man. Well, he's clearly expecting some type of stable play from Classic Pro. Let's see if Classic Pro scouts this. Classic Pro is going to see the first Siege Workshop and say, okay, as I expected. And what he's going to expect to see is a monastery. But now he sees another Siege Workshop, and he's like, what? Let's see how this works. I mean, Ram Scorpion, if he can go... Man, if only he had some knights. I guess he doesn't really have great food eco. I mean, the idea is to punish that Vil count. If you're Classic Pro, you might even want to consider just idling your TCs from here to bank up as many resources as possible, because you're going to have a villager lead. You just need to have an answer to this. And I actually really like the idea of going knights because JorDan isn't adding monks for some reason. What? I've never seen this before in my life. The guy goes Burgundians on Arabia and then picks Sicilians to do this. And for anyone who's unaware, there's no Scorpion bonus for the Sicilians. I feel like Classic Pro is going to own JorDan here. I mean, you need to have monks. Normally, you're going to need monks. I mean, we'll see. He does have a big clump here of these Scorpions. And he is going to make it in. And Classic Pro actually didn't have Loom, so he loses a couple Vils. Okay, he'll make it to Castle Age. He's adding scouts because he's expecting monks. And now JorDan adds the monastery. Let's see what happens. The knights are going to be on the way. If JorDan can kill like 10 or 15 villagers here, this will be huge. All the micro from Classic Pro and from JorDan. And the villagers are in and out of the TC to take out this ram. He doesn't want to lose this TC yet. Look at the scouts just dodging. Villagers now out. Villagers have to garrison again. Knights are out, though. I think the key would be to get the knights on the Scorpions, but I guess you don't want to lose the town center. Again, I could be wrong, but I think JorDan just loses everything now because he doesn't have monks. Let's see. Obviously, a lot of idle time for Classic Pro, and he's got some weak knights in here. He's created some choke points for JorDan to use with these Scorpions, so maybe deleting some houses would make sense. And yeah, little loop-de-loop. He's being very patient about this, guys. Obviously has lost some villagers here. He's lost 7, so he's not in the spot he would really want to be at. But if he clears all of this, he'll have full map control. Oh, man, he's so uncertain about this. That is a lot of Scorpions. He's really worried. And now look at JorDan. JorDan repairing. Also, JorDan on 2 TCs. Classic Pro being patient. I think waiting for a Mangonel, and then he's going to pounce. The tricky thing is here, if you lose a knight to a conversion, then your siege could go down to the knight. Now, honestly, I think the pressure from JorDan has done way more than I ever expected here. But now we have the siege, and now JorDan doesn't really have an answer to the siege except his own siege. And JorDan will probably switch into a full boom at home, but... Oh, God. Oh, no. And then the monk goes down. Yikes. What a horrible push. I tried to find the positives. I really did. But now this is just looking so bad, man. And JorDan just cancels everything. All these buildings are going to go down. And he adds the next TC. The real issue, by the way, is not the fact that the buildings are going to go down, because these buildings are essentially useless now. The problem is Classic Pro now has a bigger boom than you, and Classic Pro is going to pressure you. So I don't know. Like, the Scorpion thing was very weird to me. Normally what you see is Monk, Spearman, and Mangonel. Mangonels do a lot more damage output. They can also work well against units. JorDan may be showing his inexperience there or how unsure he was on how he was going to handle this. And guys, we have capped RAM being researched right now. This is specific to the Cumans. 300 food to do it. You can only research capped RAM and Castle Age with this Civ. And he's going to try and ram down JorDan. Now, on the bright side for JorDan, he's heavy on stone. And Sicilians do build castles really fast. And then he's also stonewalling, right? So he has the right idea. I mean, he knows to brace himself for this. But Classic Pro could also get all the relics. I feel as like this is just a losing move from the beginning. Let's see, though. Does JorDan see the Siege Workshop? He does actually see the Siege Workshop. And 2 Mangonels can hold off capped rams, too. I don't know, man. I mean, it depends on how many capped rams there are, right? I think JorDan will actually be okay here, guys. I think Classic Pro is going for the kill. Thinking JorDan was you know, all in. But JorDan had switched into the eco. And look at JorDan. He's just waiting. These rams could actually be a waste for Classic Pro. I understand the thought process. He's like, let's go for the kill, counterattack. Let's see how this works, though. Because now the rams are there, and suddenly he's going to be like, well, crap. Now I've got a massive army that can't do anything. Honestly, if you wanted to, if you're JorDan, you could drop the castle pretty far forward as well, because there's no ranged siege yet. Yeah, JorDan's fine. 59 villagers for 73 is manageable. We'll see what Classic Pro wants to do here. Still obviously hoping to get some rushes in. And if he breaks in, you never know. But an interesting game here, guys. I think a lot of players would have... Oh, God. Now JorDan's going to drop the castle? Oh, geez. Okay, micro. Great micro from both, actually. But the capped rams are actually going to get their way through here. 1 for 1. If he's not Sicilians, he's dead. But he is Sicilian, so I think he could be okay. But actually, he needs a mangonel behind his castle here. Because if these knights get in with the capped rams just go right to the castle, do they not? JorDan needs a mangonel behind, fast, to keep this up. It might even need to hop out of his castle with villagers to try and do this. Also, let's see if Classic Pro repairs the ram. He's got his villager in there. There's a sergeant. Classic Pro has to focus on that. You know, it's so tough. The knights are, for some reason, just not defending the ram. What a ridiculous game. Now, JorDan has the mangonel and a villager repairing, so the knights are kind of a waste. Also here, JorDan takes out the ram, so the knights are kind of a waste. JorDan maintaining his eco's position. He's got the mangonel behind. Classic Pro has to bail on this idea now. And it was a big investment from him, which has allowed JorDan to come back into the game. So it was really risky there from JorDan to drop the castle as he did. But in the end, he gets it up. I think the next plan you could have if you're Classic Pro is drop a forward castle and just go imp and try and win this in early Imperial Age. Would not mind that at all. As for what JorDan does, I think it's also a race to imp, but it's almost like because he was scared, he went too heavy on stone. What some players will do here, and I know it sounds kind of silly because you mine stone to build castles, but some players will actually sell their stone right here. Like if he thinks this is going to be a Treb War, you sell your stone just so you can get competitive imp, and then you mine more stone to build the next castle. Because it kind of looks like he needs the gold right now. He'll probably end up selling wood. But yeah, 2 relics for Classic Pro, but this game is not one that's going to go super late here. And what a series this has been. Isn't Classic Pro gathering relics in the middle a huge mistake? No, because he would have to send them all the way back home. He needs the gold now. He's going to spend the gold now. He's going to go for the kill. I think it's a perfect play. And I think JorDan, the only edge he's going to have is going to be the fact that he'll have 2 castles. But in terms of his military, I still have big questions on what he's going to make here. If you sense that you're going to start to lose the middle, then yeah, you could make another monastery at home. I don't think in this position it makes a lot of sense. I also really like how Classicpro is just going to destroy this monastery because he's sick of looking at it. He's a caster's best friend because I hate that as well. I kept looking at it throughout the game. Yeah, I mean, you could go First Crusade. First Crusade, that technology that gives you 7 sergeants from each TC. But I think he has to go Halberdier here. I think he has to go Halb. I'm not sure. He could go Halb and First Crusade, maybe. But yeah, this is all going to come down to Trebs. And JorDan is going to need an army to be able to contest the Trebs, because the Trebs can sit right underneath Classicpro's castle. In fact, Classicpro, I saw he got fletching, which I assumed was for the castles, but he's not actually getting armor upgrades on his knights right now. So now I'm a little confused. I'm going to assume he just forgot. But then again, he just went to the blacksmith for upgrades on everything else. I mean, if he's considering Trebor and Kipchek, it could be tricky, right? Because he needs his castles for Trebs. I don't know. Yeah, it does feel like he wants to go Treb Kipchek, possibly. But the lack of blacksmith upgrades is alarming. I would expect JorDan to continue to get more. And JorDan has double castle here, but one could easily go down. In fact, JorDan is out of stone right now. He can't take this stone because it's outside of his base. That's a really bad sign for him. As we have another castle for Classicpro. Yeah, I fully expect Kipcheks. So I guess he's expecting Halbs and Sergeants, and he didn't go for a heavy investment into the Trebs. Actually, he is going into 4 of them. Still, though, it's still all questionable because he still doesn't have the blacksmith upgrades for the Kipcheks. He doesn't even have Bodkin Arrow yet. But he seems fairly confident he's going to push this castle down, and then he's just going to prep for whatever JorDan's army is going to be. And probably a good call to not go for Cavalier, to be completely honest. Probably a good call. Normally, you commit the castles to the middle. It's all for Trebs, and then you go for the kill with something else. But the more I look at it, the more I like it. This is going to be University for Ballistics and Chemistry. This is going to be an archer range for... Did they get Parthian? I think Parthian and Thumb Ring. And this Siege Workshop could go down in a second. Classicpro is going to see... actually, interesting. He doesn't actually see the castle. Now he does. So he knows there's another castle to go for. This one will be trickier, though. And this is going to be one JorDan's going to defend with everything he can. Hey, Classicpro will see Halb now, and he'll realize, all right, we've chosen the right unit choice. We also want to donate kills because we're a nice guy. Okay, now he backs up. Feels like if you are going to go for a push if you're JorDan, you need First Crusade, right? Because it's just giving you free military units. But then again, he's only on 3 TCs, so it'd be 20 units. It's not as strong. You could argue it's not really worth it then. Ballistics, Thumb Ring, Parthian, all important upgrades. And Classicpro has all 5 relics sitting here in the middle. He's got 3 castles, make it 4 castles. Full map control. JorDan will run out of resources eventually. And there's First Crusade. Which I agree makes sense to get. But Classicpro comes in with the Kipcheks. But they're so weak, actually. They are very cheap compared to some other unique units out there. I don't know about this, though. Let's see. First Crusade's about to pop. Obviously, a lot of pressure here from Classicpro, which is good. He's got the control of the game. The concern would only be if he were to lose the Trebs. Now, he's threatening to dive in with the Knights to take the Trebs. JorDan has to respect that. So far, so good for Classicpro. Chemistry isn't in yet, so these units have 4+2 attack. It's not great. Knights still jockeying around, moving around. First Crusade hits, but the castle's going to fall. If Classicpro could just get away with his Trebs, I'm sure it'd be fine. He'll dive with the Knights to take out the Trebs from JorDan, because now JorDan feels the need to go for the kill. But we've got Mangonels from Classicpro on the other side, and Classicpro will be able to ensure that the Trebs can't actually push. And now he's getting Elite Kipchek, which is going to make these units stronger, and JorDan's in big trouble. I think he's in big trouble anyways. I know his population says different, but he doesn't have the relics. There's 4 castles for Classicpro. And the Sergeants actually have decent Pierce armor. They have 7 Pierce armor, so it's not a bad unit against the Kipchek. But the Castle Fire and the Siege will probably help out enough. Ooh, maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Classicpro starts to think, I actually need to get some Cav out. something that isn't an elite kip check. Because the Sergeants did a decent job. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, the Sergeants came out of the TCs. And JorDan goes down 2-1, loses this first round here to Classicpro. And I mean, last night I recorded a little video on predictions for the groups. And I said, oh, the Gamer Legion guys, you got to expect them to be top 4. But think of the players that JorDan's going to have to play. He's going to have to play Viper. He's going to have to play Dowd. He's going to have to play Miguel. And then say my name. Classicpro wins 2-1 in the first play all 3 in Group A. So that, well, not in Group A, but the Group A for them, I guess. And well done, Classicpro. Well done, Classicpro. Also, at the same time, I have to heavily disagree with picking Burgundians on Arabia and then picking Sicilians here. I heavily disagree with going Scorpions and Ram and Delayed Monastery. I don't think JorDan had his best game. And I don't think in Game 2 that he really gave himself that many chances for success by picking the Burgundians. So Classicpro puts himself in a good spot. Obviously, pockets $80. Will have to play 4 more rounds, but a good start for him. Here's a look at the KD for him. Classicpro had a crazy boom. I mean, Kumans are really tough to stop. JorDan tried. Didn't work, but yeah, he collected more resources. Obviously, at this stage, too, it's like for JorDan, it's like, what gold is he going to be able to get in the long term? He's almost at the limit here. It's an interesting map gen. We'll have to see. I didn't look at too many arena gens compared to some of the other maps because arena is pretty easy to balance. But how close these players were together could mean that we have different strategies utilized in TTL. I'll have to double check and see if there's variation, but the player base is pretty close. And there was a large back area for the players to run back into, too. So it makes for different arena games. Now, to anyone who watches this later, this is probably going to be on the T90 Extras channel. So I want to say thanks for finding me on another channel. Thanks for following the T90 Titans League playlist. Obviously, I won't be able to cover every single set, but I will be doing weekly roundup videos and casting as much TTL as possible. So thank you to everybody who's been supportive and enjoying the content and watching, liking videos, blah, 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 blah. More stuff to come. But for JorDan, he's going to have to step it up, surely, because Classicpro is not his toughest test, even though he looked fantastic. I can't wait to see Classicpro play more, actually. Let me just... Who does Classicpro play next? Miguel. And then round 3, he plays Viper. Oh, fascinating. Okay, good stuff.